Hello, welcome back to the Breaking News Update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you're watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got a breaking news report coming out from Ukraine, and we're also going to talk about China in this video as well. I have a huge new report here on your screen. Ukraine has evidence China is supplying weapons to Russia, says Zelensky. Ukraine has intelligence which shows China is involved in supplying artillery and gunpowder to Russia, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Thursday. Okay, so the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, speaking to reporters during a press briefing in Kiev today in the capital of Ukraine, and he came out with a very wild statement saying that Ukraine has intelligence that shows that China is now involved in this war. So maybe sometime next week or so, we could be hearing what this actual intelligence is. But he did give us a little bit of information saying that China could be supplying artillery and gunpowder to Russia. Now, is this artillery systems or maybe something like shells to produce artillery rounds? We don't really know all the details yet. But definitely a very huge claim, as just last week we heard that two Chinese nationals were captured fighting for the Russian side. We'll talk a little bit about that today. I want to show you guys this report and a few other things regarding this story because it's very big and could now draw China into the conflict if this happens to be true. Let's hop on over here to the Kiev Independent. This coming out today, April 17th, 2025. It says, breaking, China provides Russia with weapons, Zelensky says. Okay, here's a picture of Volodymyr Zelensky right here. And it says down here, China is supplying weapons to Russia, President Volodymyr Zelensky said on April 17th, days after Ukrainian soldiers captured Chinese nationals fighting for Russia's army. Today, we have general information from the Security Service of Ukraine, from intelligence about gunpowder and artillery, Zelensky said during a briefing in Kiev. I think we'll be able to say in detail next week that we believe that Chinese representatives are engaged in the production of some weapons on the territory of Russia, he added. Beijing has positioned itself as a neutral country, but has simultaneously deepened economic ties with Moscow and backed Russia against Western sanctions. It is also shaped up to be Russia's leading source of dual-use goods that feed the Russian defense industry. Previously, multiple reports suggested that China has sent weapons to Russia amid Moscow's all-out war against Ukraine, but Beijing denied this. In the summer of 2024, Zelensky said that China confirmed it wouldn't provide Russia with arms. Okay, so yeah, apparently last year, this is what China said. They would not send any weapons to Russia or provide any equipment for them to fight this war. But if this happens to be true, that the Chinese are providing gunpowder and maybe even artillery shells, or who knows what would be sent over there for artillery systems, that could be very, very big and could definitely destroy the ties between Ukraine and China right now, which are already looking on rocky grounds. Which again, last week we heard that two Chinese nationals were captured. Here's the two of them right here. Actually, there's another report talking about this. But yeah, they were fighting for Russia. Okay, and this was last week while I was on vacation. So I'm going to show you guys a couple other things real quick before we get you out of here. We're going to jump on over to X real quick. I'm going to show you another statement coming out from Volodymyr Zelensky. This is from the Ukrainian Review. China supplies artillery and gunpowder to Russia, says Zelensky. During conversation with Xi Jinping, he promised that he would not sell or send weapons to Russia, but unfortunately, we are seeing different information now. Okay, so this looks very promising that Ukraine does have some pretty solid evidence that China is supplying some form of weaponry to the Russians to continue fighting this war. This would effectively draw China into the conflict, just like what we're seeing with North Korea as well right now. We know that North Korea is supplying like 50%, maybe even more, of Russia's ammunition needs. Okay, that's absolutely huge. If North Korea were to cut off supplies to Russia, would Russia be able to continue fighting this war? And that could be a decisive factor. So also, I want to show you guys something else that came out today. I thought this was a very interesting story on the Hill. China is sending soldiers to Ukraine to prepare for a Taiwan invasion. This came out today also, April 17th, 2025. We're just going to go over a couple of paragraphs. I'll cite it down below. You guys can read the rest if you want to. But take a look at this. A former Western intelligence official told Reuters that approximately 200 Chinese soldiers are fighting for Russia in Ukraine. Two current U.S. officials, speaking anonymously, confirmed that there are more than 100 of them. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky put the number at 155. His forces have recently captured two of them. Reuters reports that the U.S. government believes these soldiers are mercenaries. You can let me know if you think they actually are mercenaries or not, and apparently have no direct link with the Chinese government. Whether this view is correct or not, Washington and other governments should impose severe costs upon China for permitting its nationals to enter the battle against Ukraine. Yeah, so I mean, could we see, the United States having more pressure put underneath them if China happens to be involved in this war? And we're already seeing a tariff battle right now between China and the United States. Could this make things even worse if the U.S. has to act upon this and maybe put more sanctions onto China if this happens to be true? So this is a very big report coming out today, guys. Just want to give you some news about China, and we'll see what happens here in the next coming weeks if we get this information that actually breaks, talking about this and how exactly China is involved with this war. In the meantime, let's speculate. Let me know what you think China is doing. How are they involved in this war? We've heard some reports in the past as well that they could be supplying like computer components to Russia that they use for like some of their missile systems and whatnot. And this is yet again another report of that. So let me know what you think of these details down below in the comment section. That's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.